And I've never told this story before, at least not in a public place. Then something divine happened. My MD now went to see I think it was a governor in the north or some top contractor who he was looking for a job from. And the guy was watching my video. And because my MD believed in me, he was the only one that actually believed in me. And he came back and said, no, 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 no. Allow Freeze to do what he wants to do. That was the second experience I had with the divine around my message. Because I was now like, I said, God, if there's no provision, I'd rather be hungry and do this your work. So if it's not you that sent me, please show me a sign. But if it is you that sent me, let me know what to do. Should I resign before they sack me? That happened on a Friday. By the time I came back on a Monday, my MD had sent a message, you should leave him, he should do what he wants. That it is because of me that he was able to get good audience, because he kept telling the man that this man works with me. That man said it's not possible. This man does not work with you. He said, no, he works with me. Then he was now angry with me that I was not wearing Cool FM t-shirts. So it was now that gave me renewed hope. At least there's a meal on my table. That 200 and something K that I was earning then was enough to provide a meal. At least my children will eat. I will pay light bills. I owned my house, so luckily I did not have to pay rent. Thankfully, I could sleep on that bridge. But then my kids could now not go to school.
You're frozen. I can hear you, but you're frozen.
Yes.
You've been
What do you
frozen for.
recommend we do?
No, I mean, as long as you are seeing me, can you see me moving?
I can see you moving clearly.
So
I can even see you
I have
blink,
your.
sir.
I can hear your voice. I'll just
So,
put it down to internet things. Yeah.
yeah. So, I'll tell you this part that many people don't realize. There was a point where my children could not go to school.
What? Could you say that again?
I said there was a point where my children could not go to school because there was no money.
You know what we'll do? I need to see your face while you're doing this. I will stop this. It might take
Yeah.
a few minutes to upload it, and then we'll pick up from there.
Okay.
Let me stop because I need to see your face. Ojúlọ̀rọ̀ wà bí bá a ṣe máa ń sọ kọ́ yẹn.
Yes, now.
Let me stop this first. Yeah, did I miss what you said? Did you actually said
No, I said there was a time children could not go to school.
your kids?
I was that broke, and children could not go to school. So we kept my baby, who was already turning 3. We kept him at home for an extra year because we couldn't afford to send him to school. A lot of people didn't understand. They thought, when they asked, why is he not of school age? No, we just want our baby. We want to be playing with him. One day, money no deal. Sakpa Pro Max. So then because the older ones had to go to school. Then one time, even sending the older ones to school now became a challenge. And I didn't know what to do. And believe it or not, the 2 of them got scholarships for 1 term. As in, it was divine. There was nothing, we didn't have the money. And I just looked up to God. I said, God,
Wow, I just saw
I don't carry my
balloons
wallet
come up
coming
now.
here.
I just saw balloons come up on your screen right now. How did that happen?
I don't know.
When you said the 2 of
Is
them,
somebody watching?
I have no idea. When you said the 2 of them went to, did you see it as well? Balloons and celebrations.
Yeah. It happens on Facebook.
I have no other person supposed to be watching. Maybe it's the divine.
You understand?
I have no idea.
Maybe that's divine again. Yeah. Thank you. And the 2 of them couldn't go to school. I didn't have money for their school fees. And then they both got scholarships for 1 term each.
Wow.
So all I had to pay was, like if the school fees is 500k, what you have to pay if they're on scholarship is maybe 100k or 150k out of the 500k. You just have to buy the tuition, the scholarship. So that balance, that like 200k, 250k for the two of them, I had enough for that one. So I just paid. Now, so they no take sit down for house for one term. And it gave the Pentecostal phrase, if you have a vision, there will be provision. It gave it a whole new meaning because I actually experienced it. And I say this to people: if you are not passionate enough to go broke, to go hungry, to get rejected for that dream, then the dream is not worth it.
Please say it one more time, sir.
If you are not ready to be poor for it, as you look Elon Musk, as you look Zuckerberg, when they have a dream, they are ready to mortgage their life and go broke afterwards for that dream. The only thing that at that point in time I had that was excess was food, good food. Because Madame na caterer. So food, they always day house. And at that time, food was cheap. I remember then, with 15,000 naira, you will buy 10 big snails. 115. Now 10 snails are like no, it was not. It was even less. It was like maybe 7k. So we had food, but it is those things that you need to use money to go and buy that we now had a deficiency of. And this thing went on for 3 years. Every door was locked. Once they locked the door, I go to the window, they locked the window, they locked everything. So I was left trapped in a room. And know what I had to do? I now had to break my own door and break my own windows out of the wall. Sadly for them, they did not have the key to those ones. And when I came out energized. Fear had left me. There was no longer fear. I could curse them to their faces and tell them, if that pray where you want pray, so make something do me. I want to come to your church so you can pray it. That curse you want to curse me. I want to come to your church so you can curse me one-on-one. Because I saw their power. Their power was physical. How did I start losing income? Because nobody agreed to work with me. It was nothing spiritual. It was, we don't want him because he insulted our. Remember, I used to have a Range Rover. Teju. Remember, I used to have a Range Rover.
Yep. Yep.
So in 2019, just before COVID, finances now started picking up for me again. So that Range Rover, I'd been driving it since 2012. I've had it for 7 years. I was tired of the car and the car was tired. So I was like, you know what? Let me sell the car. I just got a Tokumbo ML then. Very clean 2015 ML. This was 2019. It was 4 years old. It was really clean. So I was like, let me sell my Range Rover. Now God even saved me. I don't put the ML for sheep for Yankee. The ML reach port. I say, how hard is it for me to sell a Range Rover? I had like 3 months. My body car land port. Range Rover still dey my compound. No, people came, test drove, and went. Some will come and see the car and say, no, you insulted my pastor, I cannot buy your car. My brother, it degenerated to ridiculous levels of silliness. I couldn't sell my car. My car was now stuck at the port because I believed I will sell this car, have money to clear it. Still, my car was stuck at the port. I now had to call my younger sister in the UK and say, please loan me some money. I will pay you back once I can sell this car. The car is here. Finally, eventually, My neighbor helped me sell the car to somebody who does not live in Lagos and does not know me. Nobody that knew of Daddy Freeze was willing to buy Daddy Freeze car. So when I tell you that there was so anything you people imagine is what I went through defies imagination.
Mm, mm. I mean,
And
at
I
this,
learned one lesson.
yes, please go ahead.
Unless you are ready to go poor, go broke for your dream or for your vision, huh, you go suffer tire.
Hmm. You know, at this point, you know, what's occurring to me at this point is, look, um, did you feel like you had a call? I mean, you mentioned that already. At what point did you get a call? Did you feel this was more than a personal crusade? This was something divine, that God was calling you to do this, that this was probably the calling of your life.
When unnatural provision was made for it. You know, on the radio, you are not allowed to preach.
Mhm.
As a presenter, you are not allowed to have a religion. I ran a church on the radio for 10 years, never got any fine. Do you know how hard MBC is?
Oh, whether I know.
Anytime they call me to the MD's office or gas office, say, MBC, you have received a fine. I just go there and say, me like saying that geo where I cost last weekend. It was never that. It was always, as a presenter, you're not supposed to hype. Why were you hyping this detergent? So I can't look, say, una they hear this detergent where we hype, but una know they hear Sunday where they cost these people, where they tell them say their head no correct. So there were too many things that were unnatural. There was always like I gave you the example of how can you have, and my children have never won scholarship again before that day and after that day. How will two children get scholarship at the same time when my finances were the lowest for exactly one term, and after that one term things bounce back?
Mm.
So it was unnatural. Of course, the vision was the things I saw. My mind was opened, and I didn't. It wasn't like I sat down and actually rewrote the Bible. I was just divinely taken to places and instructed properly on those things. And I'm like, this thing has always been here. How come we didn't know about this? So the message itself was the message was divine.
Mm.
You remember those days? If you wanted to preach, you have to have money to go to television to go and preach or radio. And it was never cheap.
Never.
It was never cheap. For me, there was social media. Because imagine I had to go against a top Geo. Where will I see the money from? Which TV station will even allow me to go and face the Geo? So the fact that the advent of social media was also at one hand, and then there was this provision, and then there was this divine tutoring, and nobody could answer my questions. When I come out and I place a doctrine, when I hear their responses, I'm like, oh wow, you people didn't even know. Oh, like the tithing doctrine. People did not know that the Bible in Deuteronomy chapter 14, 22 to 28 said you should eat your tithes.
Okay, so great. I must jump in here. Quite unlike me. So I've always wanted to share this with you, but I thought I'd do it when I interviewed you. So I remember when I'd said that you might have started in 2014 or 15, right?
Yes.
You know why I remember that? In the year
Why?
2014, I wrote a long three-part treatise on that Deuteronomy scripture you've just spoken about. So I was reading my
Hmm.
Bible in those years as well. I was also going through a reinvention period. I'd begun to see at that point. So that was so now that I'm in the United States and I've stopped being who I used to be, that was the beginning of it. the first time I caught the epiphany that my life was about to change and that it wasn't necessarily going to be smooth or easy. So I was in the Bible a lot in the year 2014. So I came up against Deuteronomy. And I'll never forget that I took the Bible straight up to my mom's room upstairs. Straight up to my mom's room. I said, Mom, explain this because you're the tithe person. And my mom, who reads the Bible cover to cover twice a year, somehow had never seen that scripture before. And she couldn't answer the question. So I wrote this three-part treatise on tithing. And when I got to the end of the third part, I felt my spirit said to me that you can't preach this yet. I said, why? He said, because you have the head knowledge, but you don't have the experiential knowledge. You now know what is wrong, but you can't tell them what to do. So that's where I got stuck. So I knew this was wrong, but I couldn't now tell them what the alternative was. Or maybe it was my mind playing tricks on me because I was too scared. I mean, I've thought about it. Church boy like myself, how will I come out? Not even, I mean, I just mentioned my mom. My mom probably disowned me. Just the thought of preaching it just crippled me. Which is why when I say that you have my eternal respect, you need to understand where I'm coming from. I can promise you that you're not the only one that got that revelation at that point because
Mm.
ideas come out like that. When God sows ideas into the world, He just puts it out like that. But you were the one that had the spine to run with it. So that's why you have my eternal respect. Now, I see all of this to come back to you and give it to you again and say, yes, I know that tithe in Deuteronomy. He says, I know that scripture in Deuteronomy. He says, take your tithing to the place that the Lord has chosen. If you cannot go to the place, do this and do that.
Sell it.
Yes, sell it. He says, buy drinks, alcoholic drink.
Yes,
Buy
it's
alcoholic
there.
drink. Drink, enjoy. Do not forget the motherless people and the widows
The
and all of
Levites
that.
and the orphans.
Yeah, so I know. Look, I'm with you on that one. I get the thing. Yeah,
And you see, but be careful because they're going to come after you too. You know me, I'm used to them coming
just for
after me.
this small one that I've said.
Ah,
But you know, right?
they will come after you. You know, but you see, when I speak of divine provision, uh, my life was restored back to how I was before the tithing drama times 10,
Mm.
even financially, or should I say, especially financially, because I believed and I stood my ground. It wasn't easy. It was like when I was growing up and I was standing up to my dad, and people thought I was the brave. I used to shake but I would just stand and nobody would see the shaking is inside, but me, I would stand and face him and tell him, no, I'm not going to do this thing. If you want to kill me. So people thought I was just brave. I still had post-trauma syndrome till last year, even till this year. I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm fighting my dad
Mm.
for what happened 30 years ago. But I always stood up for myself. So maybe that's why God used me. Because let me tell you my story. My father is a medical doctor. My mother is a professor of law. I'm their firstborn. My line was cut out. You will be a doctor. They were grooming me towards it, and I was telling them, Yain, I'm not joining you inside this thing. I want to be a rapper. It started with them thinking I was retarded and actually taking me to have my IQ tested. Believing that, no, he's just plain retarded. There's nothing we can do. He's dumb. My IQ came out about 160, if I remember clearly. As in, above many of the people that you consider genius. That's when they now move from, oh, he's not dumb, he's just possessed. So it went from he's plain daft to there must be a spirit that is disturbing this boy. It cannot be normal. And I saw the future. I didn't see myself being a doctor. I used to read my dad's medical books. I'm at home, there was no TV, and even when there was TV, there was no light. So I'm just stuck, and I see a big book, this thick, about gynecology, and I carry it and I start reading it out of boredom. So I familiarized myself with oncology, gynecology, all the ecologies that I could lay my hands on the books in my house. But it was because I was bored, not because I wanted to be a doctor. So I had to stand up to my parents and tell them that no, I'm not going to be a doctor. No, I'm not going to be a lawyer. No, I'm not going to go to, I didn't want to go to uni. It was with begging that my mother begged me through uni. As in, I'd be like those northerners who they beg go school. Now they beg me go school, say, okay, you know what? Literally, I start finished, got my 2-2 in sociology, carried the paper and gave it to my mother. I say, my darling mom, thank you for seeing me through this. You can have the degree. Use it to do anything you want to do. I'm off. And I've never looked back. In hindsight, I thank my mom for it, because if not for her, I would not have had a degree. And I learned a lot during my study in sociology. And that has also helped me form my understanding of psychology and society in such a way that I can express and interrogate religion and its effect on the society. I don't do it from a layman's perspective. I do it because I studied statistics in sociology, because I studied sociology, the founding principles of sociology, psychology, the likes of Sigmund Freud, Marxism, Karl Marx, who had so much to say about religion. So when I look at religion, I look at it apart from a theological, I also look at it from a psychological and sociological construct. So I'm approaching this in an educated fashion. Even my going to sociology, if I tell you the story, you'll not believe it. I wanted to be on the radio. I wanted to rap. Okay, I wanted to rap. Nobody was rapping anything in Nigeria except Christmas presents. At that time, it was Junior and Pretty.
Shakara
It
money.
was Junior and Pretty that year. And that thing they call rap, I don't know if it is rap or if it was rap. It was Sha rank, or they were Sha writing something. So I went with my mom to Romania in 1996, and my cousin, my younger cousin, she's 2 days younger than me, Gina. I was born on the 6th of May, 76. She was born on the 8th of May. So that 2 years I take her up. Was running a teenagers show on the radio. So she took me there one day, said, I have this 30-minute program on the radio. Come and join me. I went there. I saw it. I'm like, oh, wow, I like this. I think I can do this. So that is how my radio dream was born. Before I was 21, I thought I was going to be a rapper, because there was nowhere else in society that I was fitting into. I wasn't going to be a doctor. I wasn't going to be a lawyer. I was in computer science, and I wasn't going to class because I didn't see how I was going to use computer science to eat. But when I now saw that radio, I now felt, oh, this looks like what I can do. I told my mom, I want to work on the radio. My mom said, no. I said, okay. I left, I went to look for work by myself. I came back, I said, Mommy, they've invited me to do audition in Abeokuta, OGBC 2. That's when my mother realized that if she allows me, I'll be on the bus every week going to Abeokuta. From that Abeokuta, I feel lost, enter Lagos. Now, so my mom remember saying she sabi one person, we sabi one person for BCOS. So at least, maybe it's radio you want to do, Abi. Let me talk to this person and this person. Let's see if I can get you on the radio. At least you'll be here in Ibadan. I'll be monitoring you. Because if I allow you from that OGBC, before you know it, you are in Lagos. That's how I started my radio work. And nobody believed that. Do you know how much my salary was that time? 1,500 naira a month. And that was what I was earning till 2001 when I left BCOS to come to Cool FM. And that was when Econet Wireless and MTN came out. And MTN recharge card was 1.5. So I'll talk on the radio 5 times a week for 1 full month. And on my way home, they will give me a recharge card. No. Let me break your heart. It wasn't even up to a recharge card because they will remove tax. So it was 1,400, and so they will remove their tax. And I didn't give up. So I always had that dogged spirit. So I'm sure, just the way Moses This is me just assuming. God didn't tell me this. But I'm sure God saw something in Moses' stubbornness that made him the right candidate to go and face Pharaoh, at least according to the narrative that we're taught. And I don't give it up to myself because, you know, I have my own faults and my own flaws. And sometimes the stubbornness does not work. It's not useful all the time. But in this particular battle, where Nigeria or Africa is sinking under religious slavery, I say this to people all the time. People think I don't pray. I pray. I pray every day. But my question is, what does Nigeria have that countries that don't pray do not have?
Mm.
If prayer is going to, if prayer is as important as it is, we are supposed to be borrowing China money. This war that is going on, Nigeria is supposed to call America and say, how many fighter jets do you need? Let's give you 20. We are not supposed to be the poverty capital of the world. If truly it is by tithing, if truly it is by prayer, if truly it is by going to church. And that's when I came out with the concept of 10 things more important than prayer, which will solve both your supernatural problems and your physical problems. And I listed all of them, starting with what Christ's message is: love, that you notice is lacking when you come to Nigeria. It's one of the first things you notice. We have plenty prayer, we have plenty church, we have plenty fasting, and very little love.
All right. Look. Okay, great. By the way, so you see now, I was telling you when we spoke yesterday, and you might have thought that I was toasting you and I was sweet talking you. Can you see? And I told you yesterday that you were one of the people who made me want to start a podcast. Not only because we go way back, but especially because we go way back and I know you. And the path which you've now taken is very interesting. See, you're doing it now, which is great. So here's the question at this juncture. Uh Timothy, First Timothy chapter 5, verse 1. And I'm going to read it. Now you must know it because this must come to you often.
Yes.
Do not rebuke an older man harshly, but exhort him as if he were your father. Did you? Because my earliest introduction to this stance that you've taken to your crusade was that of attacking. Did you try at any point in time to be conciliatory in the beginning, to say, look, let me be kind and respectful in introducing this concept and asking these questions? Because it seems you just came out attacking from day one, back, 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 back.
It's because they shut me up. First of all, I'm sure if I wanted to get to President Tinubu now, it'll be easier than getting to a Nigerian GO for a conversation. The only Nigerian GO that I have conversations with properly, as in we can actually have a conversation, doesn't mean we agree with each other, but we can talk, is Apostle Johnson Suleiman. He's the only person that if I call him now and I say I want to discuss this, he will dedicate 1 hour to listen to me. The only other GO that I can have at least a line here and a line in and a line out with is Pastor Sam Adeyemi. No, but you don't understand that these men are gods. They are unavailable. Apart from these two, there's no pastor that I can. Where is the balloons coming from?
I don't. Well, look, look, when we
The
finish
other time
this.
I saw thumbs up. The other
Yeah,
time I
I
saw
saw.
thumbs up. Are you sure people
Yeah,
see?
see again. Thumbs up. Look, I hope I'm not streaming this to somewhere,
I
or
hope.
you are not streaming this to somewhere.
I'm
Where's all this
not.
thumbs up and
I'm not
balloons?
even live. This is my phone. These are all the other plenty phones I used to stream. They're all
I,
off.
I have no idea where this thumbs up and stuff is coming from. Wait, Talon Yawa wo.
Hello. So you see, when people complain about Apostle Suleiman and say, to me, I see a totally different person. I see it totally because he's the only one that is approachable. He's the only one I can sit down with and say, this is my idea, this is my idea, this is my idea. He doesn't have to agree, but he hears me out. Sometimes he'll give me a little insight and I'll look at it from another perspective. Sometimes he tells me that, look, these church leaders, sometimes you can't get to them because of the bureaucracy on the way to them. But apart from him and Pastor Sam Adeyemi, the last time I heard Sam Adeyemi talk about tithing, and he touched on, and I wonder how that man is able to because they will come after you. The establishment will come after you. That's their daily bread. You can't go after it. And I sent him a line. I said, Pastor Sam, I'm really proud of. And he wished me well. We don't have conversations, but I know I can send him a line and he will respond. Apart from those two, there's no Nigerian GO, including my former pastor, that even wants to touch me with a pole. So I have this message. I have these questions. You are telling me, shut up, shut up, shut up, keep quiet. How do I get it to the people? That is when I now started firing. There was a lot of anger. Anger because the world was not seeing what I was seeing. I don't know how to explain it. When you join our church, the Free Nation in Christ, there are 5 books that we give to you as compulsory to read. None of them is the Bible. 5 books you must first read. 1 is Animal Farm. 2, Watership Down. 3, Chinua Achebe, Things Fall Apart. 4, Chinua Achebe, Arrow of God. I've forgotten which one is the 5th one. It's there in those books. You can never join the Free Nation until you read it and do tests. Like say they do literature test. Now me go do that test for you. Until you do test on Arrow of God. Until you do test on Things Fall Apart. Until you do test on Animal Farm and Watership Down. You are not ready. Because those books broke society down. Chinua Achebe's works in Arrow of God and Things Fall Apart explained how the white man brought his religion like a cuckoo laying its egg in another bird's nest. And as the baby cuckoo hatches, it kicks out the real occupants of the and inherits that nest. It is broken down in a language you can understand. When you read Things Fall Apart, you see, when you read Bible, you cannot relate with Bible. Do you know you can't relate? The society in which Bible was written does not exist. Let me break it down to you. During biblical times, from Genesis till Revelation, nobody had toilets in their home.